Hi everyone, my name is Meredith and I'm a licensed mental health counselor in the state of Florida. So I don't actually live in Florida, I live in Maryland. So my counseling practice is completely online and I meet with clients who live in Florida. Here in Maryland, I teach yoga and I don't really share with everyone anymore that I'm in recovery because I don't always work with clients who have addictions. But I'm here to tell you all today that on July 7th, I celebrated my 8 years in recovery. So that's really awesome and exciting. And what I want to talk about today is how I use yoga as an important part of my spiritual practice in recovery. So here in Maryland, I've actually started a yoga and recovery group at my house, and we meet here monthly. And it's been really cool to join with people who are also using yoga as or want to use yoga as part of their spiritual journey. So, yoga is so much more than an exercise program. The ancient texts of yoga are called the Yoga Sutras. I mean, they're really old. And they're just filled with spiritual insight. So I could literally make a video on each little portion of each one of these topics that I'm talking about. So I'm gonna try to keep it short and give you a general overview. First of all, the definition of yoga as defined in the ancient texts. In Sanskrit, it's yoga, chitta, vritti, nirodha. Okay, what does that mean? Basically, there are a lot of ways to translate this, but to keep it simple, it means that the definition of yoga is the ceasing of allowing our negative thinking to take over our minds and our lives. So that's pretty powerful, right? Like, I want to know how to stop my negative thinking from taking over my mind and my life, right? Like, whoa. So how do we do that? The sutras go into the 8 limbs of yoga. So it starts with yama. Yama is the way that we carry ourselves out in our lives. So not stealing, not harming, being truthful, remaining abstinent, not being greedy. And then we move on to the second limb, which is niyama. And this is really how we take care of ourselves. We move on then to asana. So asana is our movement practice. So maybe if you go to a yoga class and you're doing postures, that is the asana. So that's just one portion of yoga, is keeping our body healthy through movement. Then we move on to pranayama. Pranayama are breathing techniques, and really being able to focus our mind by controlling our breath. And there are a lot of different ways that we can do this. Maybe I'll make a different video on that, because that is some really powerful practice right there. I mean, our breath, it's always accessible to us, right? But a lot of times we might catch ourselves not breathing, or breathing in a very shallow way, just in and out through the chest. So really learning how to breathe more effectively can not only reduce anxiety, but according to the ancient yogis, it can actually prolong our life. Okay, so then after that, we move on to pratyahara. It can be defined as sense withdrawal, but really what it means is drawing our awareness away from the external world. So letting go of our attachment to outside things and the outside outcomes and things like that. And that brings us then to dharana, which is meditation. Guys, meditation has been a game changer for me in my life, in my recovery. These practices have taken my anxiety from a consistent 10, right, down to a 2 or 3 on a regular basis. Some days even zero, which in the past had been just not possible. So meditation also can look like a lot of different things. That brings us to the next limb, dhyana, concentration. So being able to focus on our goal, on our practice, which then ultimately leads us to samadhi, which is ultimate bliss, enlightenment, you know. So a lot of us might never get there necessarily, but this really gives us a guideline, something to work towards, right? So if we do all these things, we start to feel better. We do all these things, we feel better because, you know, if we're living the yamas and the niyamas perfectly in a perfect world, which we're not, you know, because we're human, but we won't have those feelings of guilt of how we're living our lives, right? Keeping our body healthy. Our body is the vessel that carries us through life, so it's important to keep it healthy. And we know that, you know, the mind-body connection, a healthy body helps us keep a healthy mind, and keeping our mind healthy through meditation and other sort of grounding techniques can really help us to be more effective in our day-to-day lives, to feel more peace in our day-to-day lives. And ultimately, like, where does using and drinking fit into that lifestyle? I mean, that's kind of the place where I'm at now, where it's like, it just doesn't fit into my life. And I'm really grateful for that. So I would love to hear from you all. How do you use yoga in your recovery spiritual practice? And or how would you like to implement yoga into your yoga recovery spiritual practice? I would love to answer any questions in the discussion. We can open this up like a dialogue. This is a topic that I'm really passionate about. So any questions you have, anything that you want to add, anything I left out, look forward to hearing from you all.